As you listen today, think about your own relationships. How can personal growth and self healing contribute to creating a loving and supportive space for your partner? Welcome to You Conscious You, where we explore the transformative power of self healing in nurturing long lasting relationship. In today's episode, titled Self Healing a Path to Holding Space for the Other, we're joined by a couple who has navigated 30 years together. They'll share their inspiring journey of personal growth and how it has enriched their connection. Let's dive in and discover valuable insights on fostering love and understanding true self healing. Anna and Ozzy, welcome. Ozzy is a logical thinker with fast thinking ability, very focused on tech and science. Greatest skills is reverse engineering things. Love martial arts. Anna, fearless, badass, coach, power coach for 17 years. Anna has been helping clients break through their inertia and fears to attain measurable results. So welcome, Anna. Welcome, Ozzy. Long time
Thank you,
no
Lucy, for
see.
having us. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Nice.
With you.
Yeah. Thank you for taking the time. Like, we're gonna have just a regular conversation here. Thanks for taking the time because I really believe that this podcast, when it get known, it will inspire people to navigate maybe their relationship better as couples, but also the relationship that they have with themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, like when is the last time we saw each other? Like maybe 2, 3 years ago, but I mean like we met when in 2004, was it? During peak?
Gosh,
Yeah,
is that long?
20
Wow.
years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Like time flies, huh? Like
Yes,
2004 was like what it's 20 years ago.
I know. My daughter's 24 now.
Oh my goodness. I have a 28 almost and a 15-year-old. So
I remember your daughter. Mm-hmm.
oh, awesome. Anyway, let's get started with the first question so we can inspiring our listeners here. Um, I wanted to, like a lot of people are going through, like since COVID, in fact, a lot of there's has been a lot of breakup in relationships, and I think it's time to dig into what makes a relationship last. And I was looking at one of the questions we shared together, and one of them is have you done any self-healing during the 30 years of your marriage? And if the answer is yes, how has your individual self-healing journey impacted your marriage? Let's start with that one.
Hmm. We are actually talking about that this afternoon. And since the beginning, we met in 1993. And we got married really quick, like we only dated for a year. And since the beginning, I think we had the capacity to heal ourselves and to heal each other too. And I think the number one thing for me, at least, was that I had a lot of self-esteem issues when I met Oz because I did ballet and everything. So, and I was very self-conscious about my body. And he was very good about helping me recognize who I am and seeing myself with his eyes. So, and this created a lot of healing in our relationship. So, this was our first stage of creating healing in between each other.
Yeah,
That is beautiful.
I think we both always resorted to healing each other more than self-healing. I think we both were a great match from the start, and I had dealt with depression and other issues in my life, and that was a huge step for me to uh, understand that and to move away from it, or not away, but deal with it.
Hmm. But Anna, you were saying, thank you for that. You were saying that Oz was there and he helped you. So that, the title of the podcast today is Holding the Space for the Other. So
Yeah.
right in the beginning, Oz, you had the ability to hold the space for Anna. so she can transform right in the beginning. That tells a lot about your relationship, just
Yeah.
right there,
Hmm.
And by doing this, I don't know, this is just my opinion. You can like add to it or, but by doing this, you're showing Anna, like if you do need in the future, you're opening the door for Anna to hold the space for you if you are ever in need, You know what I
Hmm.
mean? That's
Yeah.
what I see just with that first share right there. It's pretty beautiful, amazing. Can you
Yeah.
imagine if every one of us we would be able to do that? So it reminds me something. The podcast not about me, but it reminds me something. It reminds me like they say it's never about you, it's about others, it's about the whole consciousness, right? So
Hmm.
by you focusing on her and holding the space for her, you're not thinking about you, you're thinking about her first, and automatically you're rewarded at the same time. Anyway, I just see it this way.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a huge breakthrough. It was a beautiful healing, healing phase for us.
Wow. I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this. Um, I'm looking at the questions that we shared together, and there's another one I highlight a few, and there's another one I said we're saying here, what have been the most transformative moments in your relationship that required personal growth from each of you?
Hmm. That was a good question too. I think there's so many, Lucy. It's really hard to choose one.
Maybe the most
Yeah, for me, one of the most ones was when I moved to Canada.
hmm,
I came from a country that I had no idea how the culture was. I had no English whatsoever, and I had to endure life and adapt and learn everything.
wow.
And then we went through financial hardship. Like we had nothing when we moved here. And then we just put our hands together, our heads together, and our heart together. And we were able to overcome, you name it, like everything. So
Just
me,
name a few for the listeners so they can they can see themselves in your story, maybe.
say it again, I'm sorry.
I said, if you can name a few things, few hardships that you went through, like, if you can name a few, like just name them so people can see themselves in your story.
Well, one thing that is actually funny, like me going to my first grocery shopping, I had no idea what it was. I had no idea what kind of milk to buy. And then I went to buy the bill to pay the bill. And then I was really nervous and fighting with the cashier, saying, "No, you're charging me more. The number is this." And I was showing her with my calculator. And then I got all upset and I left all the grocery shopping there. And I went home and I told him, "Hey, I just left the grocery shopping there because they are trying to steal from me because I come from Brazil, right?" He looked at
Hmm.
me and he started laughing. "No, Wanda, we pay taxes here and the taxes are,
On top.
on top of it." Like, we had to go back to the market, and get everything back. So, and from the point that I was trying to communicate, and once we were so short in cash that we had to eat potatoes for a week. So we
Hmm.
made mashed potatoes, we made French fries, we made everything you name it with potatoes. But the beauty of this is we were always laughing and together and saying, like, we are gonna get it, we are gonna get it, we are gonna win. Hmm.
I
Yep.
hear in this support, like, you always think about supporting each other. What did you want to say, Ozzy?
This was definitely a spectacular time where we had to use all our creativity and love for each other to overcome everything. But to me, it was the birth of my daughter for that question.
Mm.
Um, After going through all this hardship and all the difficulties of uh, having moved recently to Canada, when she got pregnant, I definitely said like, nope, I can't get my kid to go through this. So
Mm.
I jumped and went back to school. I had already credentials from Brazil that were not very useful here.
Mhm.
So I decided, well, let's take the same area, stick with it, and naturally having new credentials from Canada will help me grow. And so that's what happened. Back to tech, did a few courses, and then right there and then got some amazing opportunities. Once the time I joined Peak Potentials, and everything flew from there, just went just up and up, and keeps going, getting better. So yeah,
But
that was my big red flag when I went like, nope, everything's got to change, got to make money.
yeah, your daughter was an inspiration to become a better self and not having her to go through your hardships. She will have her own, but I mean, not that one.
Mhm.
Very nice. And what I can see is your mindset together. Like you had the mindset to go through those things and you made the decision to support each other
Mhm.
no matter what. Because like any couple, I'm sure you had your adventures and your challenges. But I
Yeah.
mean, you have since the beginning what I see, like day one to before you move, and then when you move, then having your daughter, you were really, really like it's I call that a family mindset, couple mindset and family mindset. That comes first before the career, before everything else. That's what I feel. That'd
Mhm.
be right, yeah. Very nice. This is amazing. You're very inspiring me, you know? Maybe my next one will be the right, let me rephrase that. Let me just zip it, erase. No, the next one will be the final and the good one. I've done the work too.
Mhm.
Um, there was another beautiful question that I like here is, how has your way of listening to each other evolved over 30 years? Because that's something like communicate, like here we're talking about listening in that question. Let's include listening and communication because they really go together. So how has your way of listening and communicate to each other evolved in 30 years?
Mhm. I think this one is a good one because it's one challenge that me and us have. It's to
Yep.
communication, right? So I think the number one is to, like, for me, was to say exactly what I wanted to accomplish, and to give him feedback on the way he was communicating. And of course, there are times, that I never felt heard. So my job in that situation was to tell him, I don't feel heard. And then it was a lot of times that, was conflict because he goes like, what do you mean you don't feel heard? I hear you. I go like, not that way. So I think for us, it's kind of going back to the school of the relationship, right? So for me, it was about learning with myself what it meant to me to be heard, and how do I want it to communicate, and how do I want it to be communicated with. And by letting him know with authenticity, and a lot of times also with vulnerability, I
Mm-hmm.
think it helped a lot because he's a very stubborn man. So, and then, sometimes you have to say, no, that's not the way. And then, and until this day, like until last week, we are always telling each other, the way you're communicating is not okay. So let's try this in this way. Yeah. And I think for us, this is going to be, a forever learning experience, but be willing to not to hold grudge and be upset, but say, hey, it's not working that way. So let's move this way and see how it goes.
Well, you're
Yeah.
right. You have done it for 30 years so far, so it's a good start, don't you think?
Yeah.
What do you want to say, Ozzy?
Yeah, no, that was definitely the biggest challenge for me. I'm not a good communicator. I am
Mm-hmm.
aware of that. I am a very excitable person, so when I get enthusiastic about something, it's like my brain takes over, it starts going in that direction. My mouth tries to keep up with it, and like it doesn't work very well. The brain's faster than the mouth. I can't express myself fully, or as with the skill that I see some other people able to do. And I recognize that. I totally take that in, and I've learned to try not to speak over her. and try to listen before I speak and pause a little bit, give it time so that I'm sure that I'm relaying what I want to say and
Mm-hmm.
not what just jumps out of my mouth very excitedly.
I'm sure you're not the only one. You are not the only one. I
And one
can
thing that I
relate to
can
this.
teach you is to use each other as a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see, like when I see him communicating in a way that I feel is not okay, or I feel some anger or frustration or even sadness, you go like, what's happening now that is creating that?
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing that is making me behave that way? So of course you can't do this 24/7 because it takes the exercise. But as more as you do, as easier it becomes.
Mm-hmm. But from my experience is let's call it trigger for this conversation, okay? When we have communication with someone and we feel triggered, there's
Hmm.
something in what they say, it's the mirror. There's something in what they say that we feel affected.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not as if the person want to affect you, but we feel affected. And this
Hmm.
is when, this is right, you go within yourself and you ask the question, what's going on here? Like, what is it in what he says? Or it could be the tone, it could be the
Yeah.
facial expression,
Hmm.
it could be the words. But
Hmm.
what does that trigger? Okay, so
Hmm.
like you go within yourself. And then the second thing that I believe it's time to go at that moment is to say, what belief do I have about myself? Or what belief do I have around this topic that affects me
Hmm.
that created that feeling?
Yeah.
Because this feeling is not there for
Hmm.
no reason. There's emotions and past attached to it, right?
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
once you dig into this and you bring it to the light, I call, but then at that moment, it doesn't affect you as much. And it
Yeah.
may take few times, like may
Yeah,
take few
absolutely.
times, but at some point, it's less and less and less and less and less. That's the beauty of, like you said, going towards yourself and see, okay, what is it there that's about me? Like, because the other person doesn't want to affect you on purpose usually.
Yeah,
You
of
would
course.
not be 30 years together, that would be the case. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
We definitely figured out there were some topics that we would have to thread very lightly around them
Mm-hmm.
because we saw them differently.
Mm-hmm.
And we learned to respect that. We learned to figure out like, okay, that's your limit. I'm not going to go there. So, and it took a while, but we basically just talked about it and discussed it very gently
Hmm.
and kept our heads very calm. And
Mm-hmm.
we were able to establish some limits. We were able to establish boundaries and say, okay, this we see very differently and it will impact us emotionally. So let's not go there.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. This is where, like you said, respect come into place, right? I love you enough to respect that we can have different opinions, different
Hmm.
belief system, but we can still be in love and have a good relationship, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
And this is something that most people cannot do because we want to change the other person. And what I see here is you're not trying to change the other person. You're trying to see where that person comes from
Hmm.
and respect from there. And yes, it's true. It takes time because you evolve yourself to it, right?
Hmm.
That's beautiful. I love it. Thanks for sharing those insights. It's amazing. Um, was there a time like where one of you needed space? Because we're talking about holding the space and space today in this podcast. Was there a time when one of you needed a space to grow and all the other partners supported that? Like, because sometimes you really need like space,
Hmm.
time and space.
Hmm.
If you have an example, maybe you can share something that is shareable.
In our relationship, Lucy, we never needed space from each other,
Yeah, that's good.
but we chose differently. We
Mhm.
chose to do things we love alone.
But that's space. Hmm.
Like I love hiking, I love boot camp, I love exercising and running and everything, and he loves his martial arts. So,
Hmm.
we make sure that we have that time for each other. So, and then we can charge, we can do what we love and come back in a really good energy. And I was actually thinking about that question too. Like, we never had a time that we say, I need space from you. Or because it's always about how can I make myself feel happy than, my grumpiness or everything that is, in between, gets settled. So we
Mm.
do things we like, but most of the times we do things together.
Yeah.
Well, you take the time to do things for yourself and you take the
Yeah.
time together.
hmm hmm
Do you schedule dates together?
No, no, it's all his fault.
And would you like him to schedule dates for you?
I did so many times, and one day I said, no, no more. He's gonna have to be the one to schedule dates. So we don't have a date for probably what, 20 years?
Yeah, it's not that bad.
No, it's not
Maybe
that
No.
10
bad.
years.
Our date is to go off-roading together. We get in the car, we drive the whole day, and we talk, 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 talk,
Yep.
but romantic dates and stuff like that, no, it's been a while.
Oh. You're on the spot, I see.
Well, yep. That's that part of the, tech head that likes to, certain activities. We both don't like to go to theaters. We
Mhm.
both don't care much about, very busy places.
hmm
Mhm.
So we like calm and quiet dinners in
Yeah.
cozy places. We like that kind of stuff. We like to be in nature. We both love to be in nature.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
love from sailing all the way to not the crazy hikes she does because she can kick my butt anytime when it comes to hikes. I'm always behind going like, hey, slow down, slow down. And basically we do that together as well. And it's a great time for us to be together. But when she needs to go like those 17 kilometers into the bush and, a very fast pace, I'll stay home. I'll avoid those and we'll do the shorter hikes. The same way she doesn't like to, get tangled with people on the mat. Um, uh, she, it's not her thing.
Yeah.
So I do that myself. And we thrive on that way, in that way.
A lot of our dates, I think, if we can call it a date, is when we go off-roading.
Yeah.
And we have the whole day in the car to talk, listen to music, and discuss some ideas and stuff. So maybe
Yeah.
off-roading is our date time.
Well,
Mhm.
yeah, we usually make a little fire by the side of a river or something like this or a lake, and
Oh,
we put our chairs over there, have a drink or something, and relax, have some food, and cook by the fire,
Yeah.
and that's
oh,
our
it's good
that's our
time.
date.
It's
And
hmm
there's
good
nobody
time.
around. That's the best part.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's fine. You enjoy your time together and you
Mhm.
love like pretty much the same thing. This is nice. Well, I was asking this because there's so much on relationship that I hear, and then, I just want to see your take on this
Uh,
because we're all different. And for you, as if you want to surprise her one day, you both like water and you go on a sailing or something. You don't tell her, you book it, you bring her there, and then you say, that's our date today. That's it.
there you
You bring
go.
a bottle of wine and that's the date.
Uh-huh.
I'm
The
taking
date,
you
I
up
think
here.
it's more the surprise, like when you reserve everything and you make it a surprise. That's
Yes,
pretty
yeah, it
much a
makes a lot of
date.
sense. It makes us feel special.
Yeah, okay. So you know how to make her special then. Feel special. Oh,
hmm
fabulous. It's awesome. Um, how has your definition of love changed from year one to year 30? They say love evolve, right?
Love is always love. I think you go from the first stage, like the euphoric love, like the passion and everything, and then it lasts a little while. And then you start to prioritize other things. But if I could use the word love, I think love never changes. And I think love is what is keeping us together for 31 years.
Mm.
When you
When
really love someone, you're patient, you have empathy, you know. Growing older together can be difficult, we change, you see little habits changing and you go like, what? Snoring happening and this and that. So it's always to hold that space of love, like what it means to me. And
Mm-hmm.
and people say love unconditionally, like of course we all have conditions, but not to the point that is going to take you away from the
Mm-hmm.
feeling you have from someone else. That is the true pure love.
Would you say that you love yourself now, Anna?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I really believe that to love another, you need to love yourself. How about you, Ozzy? Do you feel you love yourself?
I do, and my take on love is it's a bit romantic, but it comes from something I read over 40 years ago. First time I read The Godfather.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I remember one of the characters saying that it was the son of the Godfather. He met his wife, and he felt like a lightning bolt go through him. And
Mm.
that was always my dream to feel that and see that happen. And like definitely I got hit by that lightning bolt the first time I saw her. And it still feels the same way. It doesn't it that didn't change. Um, what has changed is the level of maturity. I'm way
Mm-hmm.
more mature. I have uh, a way of loving Anna that is more gentle, more calm, and it's not so much just the passion. Passion's
Mm-hmm.
still here, but there is maturity to kind of like take care of that passion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, take care of that passion. I think this is very important what you just said. Take care of that passion. Take care of each other. Take care of that passion we have between each other, right? It comes down to being there for the other before self. But when I say before self, I don't mean you don't exist and you don't take care of you, never think of you, but you think
Hmm.
of the other as yourself, you know what I mean? Because you need to love yourself. You need to be there for yourself before you can love another, I believe. Like you really love another and being able to last, like you said, 31 year,
Hmm.
it has to be there. Has to be
Hmm.
there. I'm looking at my own experience and I failed twice. So it's like I had some work to do, you know?
Hmm.
It's very nice. Yeah. Passion. So how do you maintain the passion? That was not a question on the list, but now we're talking about passion. I think
I
this is
think
important.
I think the passion maintains itself. It's like a fire. You just have to keep feeding it fuel. Um, and I don't need more fuel than just to look at her,
Mm,
to feel that all the time. It's not like just a romantic feeling. It's not just
mhm.
it's more. It's a deep spiritual connection that we bring between us for a long time.
And based on what you're saying, I just need to look at her and feel it. It's admiration. There's so many words with love. Like you probably, I'm sure you admire her. You love her as a mom, as a woman, as a business, as a wife. You need to have admiration for your wife to be able to say 31 years later, I look at her and I feel the same.
Hmm.
So when you met her, you felt that, but over the years, you learn to like know Hannah and discover Anna, know Anna improving and going through her own challenges like yours too. I'm talking the same for you, Anna, right? So I'm
Hmm.
looking at this like you evolve, but the love continue and you admire your person because like in 31 years, you need to evolve. You have to evolve as a couple to keep going together. Would you agree? You have
I
both
think
to
becoming
evolve.
aware,
Yeah. Becoming aware, you said?
becoming aware of the routine a couple can go. I
Mm-hmm.
like doing the same things over and over. Say, hey, something's missing. Or,
Mm-hmm.
we need to ignite something. Yeah, like the day-to-day life that goes on. So just being aware of that. Like, am I feeling bored in my relationship? And if I am, like, what do I need? Like, what do we need? and protect that.
Yeah. I would agree with this. Become creative and open to that's the thing I see in you is you're both open to talk about things and to evolve and to improve. Because everything you've been saying since the beginning, we've been talking now for 30 minutes. Everything you've been saying for the last 30 minutes is the open mind that you have. You know, when Ozzy was going through his own challenges, or when you and I were going through your own challenges, how you held the space for each other, but also open to communicate better or listening or rephrase things or like not everyone can do that. Most people get triggered, they fight, and then they go on different direction. So you need to have, like as it says, a lot of love and passion and commitment. It's commitment.
Yeah, huge.
Huge commitment. And it's not true that being in a relationship, you cannot just leave it like that and do nothing. It's commitment. People who stay together, they're committed to make it work. And
Yeah.
it's work. It's not without doing nothing.
Yeah, it requires commitment, resilience, patience.
And would you say it takes commitment on both sides? Pretty much equal?
It
Because
has
you
to.
can have a relationship where it's only one person that do all the work and want to improve things and want to maintain that fire, fuel the passion, like you say. Okay. But sometimes if it's only one that do all the effort, it's going to collapse at some point. So do
I
you
think we
feel that
had
in your
phases that
case, you both put in the work?
I think we go through phases, right?
Yeah.
So in some phases I put all the effort, and some phases he does, and in some phases we are equal. Yeah. I think we
But
need to
that's
be real. Sometimes I get, like, hey, I'm putting all the effort here, so let's get you doing things too. So he
balance.
does the same.
So you're balancing things out at some
Yeah.
point, right? But it's life in
hmm
anything, work, activities, relationship, with our children, we need to balance things out, right? So what you're saying, you balance things out, like, okay, let's rebalance this here.
hmm
Because we
Most
all
of
have
the time.
habits. We go
Yeah.
back into our old habits.
It's a yin yang energy where, like, you achieve balance by receiving and giving, and I think that's the best way to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, give and receive, but learn to receive too. That's another thing,
Yeah.
You learn to receive, you learn to give.
hmm
And then whoop, I give too much. I feel like, whoops, out of exchange here, and then you balance
Yeah.
things out. It's yeah, it's for sure work. I cannot I was in a relationship for 27 years. So I was close to yours, 27. And then I
Yeah.
left.
hmm
So but it takes work for sure.
Absolutely.
Very nice. Oh, it's amazing. Thanks for sharing all of this. Um, what surprised you the most now about how your relationship transformed over the last 3 decades? What are you surprised about?
Surprised about. Like through the ups and downs, I always believed we were, meant to be together, but sometimes I go like September 10, last September was our 30-year anniversary, and we were kind of, what, 30 years? And I like when I think about when we married, I was a kid, like I was younger than my daughter. And then you go like, wow, and so many people didn't believe in our relationship, in our marriage. And, we go like, a lot of people that didn't believe in us, they're not together with their own partner now. And, we've been through this, and, in the last 5 years, it's been difficult. And it's a big surprise that we are here, we are together, we are, going through ups and downs, but we are here, we are solid.
And in love.
And in love, yeah.
Yeah, I think when there is love, you can keep going.
hmm
It needs to be there. And I would say love, but I believe in what you said, Ozzy. I believe in the passion, like the fuel. Like you look at your wife, and I'm sure now when you look at Ozzy, you feel the same way, right? So it's like those two needs to be there. You need to
Mm-hmm.
cultivate that passion, you cultivate that love over the years,
Mm-hmm.
and by cultivating it and growing through it, because it's a process. Life is a process anyway.
Yeah.
You can like really like
Mm-hmm.
maintain. Oh, this
But
is
part of
nice.
it is not leave a relationship in la la land. Like everything is okay, you have no problems, you go through this, you go through that. No, you need to be very conscious and aware. Like, this is happening, so we can't leave this for longer now. So it needs to be resolved
Yeah.
now and have the willingness to do it because sometimes it's hard. It's exhausting.
It is hard. I don't think it's sometimes. I think most of the time it's probably hard. There's so
Yeah.
many things that come into the place, like ego and belief system
Mhm.
and programming from the past. There's so many things that come
Yeah.
into the place in the
Yeah.
space we can call,
Hmm.
and when you need to resolve something. Do you remember Blair Senior? That was one of the teacher of Train
Oh,
the
yeah, of
Trainer.
course.
Yeah,
Hmm.
remember Blair?
Hmm.
Blair was teaching that through his courses. He was always talking about his relationship with his wife,
Hmm.
Eileen, and they're still together, I believe, today,
Hmm.
over 30 years too. And he was always saying that they don't go to bed on an argument.
Hmm.
They may need to take a 30 minute, an hour, to just like, you know, but then they come back, they never go to bed on an argument.
Hmm.
And I was not successful at that.
Hmm.
Like for me, it didn't work because those two people needs to be able to do it.
Of
But I
course.
believe it's a good thing because I was listening to another course that I was listening a course about energy and self-healing and who we are as spiritual being.
Hmm.
And they were talking in that course, they were saying that um, never leave an argument more than an hour and a half. Like
Hmm.
just solve it. Because what it was saying that when we have an argument, we're creating space between two people. There's
Hmm.
space, and that space, it's not like love can be there at that moment. The space that is there, it's more like on the negative side, right? Because something crashed, okay?
Yeah.
Then it created, and in that space here, it's not light, it's more dark, okay?
Hmm.
So they said you need to solve it, otherwise you give that space, that energy to grow and expand
Hmm.
and create more ripple effect of negative things. So negative thoughts, negative behaviors. So they say within an hour, like give yourself maybe a 30 minute, an hour, but you need to solve it because
Hmm.
then you close the space again and then you come back together. That was pretty, we all know that we need to solve issues and arguments in a relationship. But what they were saying, it allows that darkness of thoughts, like the negative thoughts or like when we're upset, it just run like it's like a
Hmm.
hamster wheel, right? In the wheel,
Hmm.
right? So it gives too much power to that. And that is energy. You're talking about yin and yang, it's energy. And that energy grow and grow and grow and grow if we don't solve it.
Hmm.
And then you come to a place where if you don't solve it, you accumulate. It's like you put everything under the carpet, and then it accumulates.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
at some point, you just explode, right?
Hmm.
So it was interesting to hear that in that course because they were talking about like darkness, in fact, like the dark thoughts, and then how it can expand and how it grows. And I could relate to myself, like if someone tells me something that it will affect me, all my thought can like go on and go on and go on. Like, should not have said that. Should never say that. Like, why did you say that to me? Like, I'm not stupid. I don't know. You know what I mean? It just go and go, and it doesn't stop until you stop it. That's why they
Hmm.
say we need to close the space. So I found that pretty amazing.
No, it is powerful for sure.
Mm-hmm. So would
I
you say
think,
that, what did you want to say, Ozzy? You seem to
I
have an
think in our
idea.
case, we have become very good at deflating potential arguments.
Mm-hmm.
When we feel there is some aggressiveness or some sort of like energy that's not supposed to be there,
Mm-hmm.
we try to deflate it And even if we need to take a little space and think about it, and then we try to connect and talk. And even for a while, we used when we had a lot of arguments, we used the trick that was taught to us. I don't remember who, but to use a love couch.
Oh, a wrong content, yeah.
Ron
Love couch.
Conklin.
So give us the example of the love couch. Pretty cool. I like the title of it.
You want to describe that?
Well, the love couch is a safe space. So when you're having an argument and then you reach the point that you know it's not going to go anywhere. So and then you go to the love couch. A love couch could be this couch, it could be, any other couch in the house. So, but you call that the couch that is only allow love and understanding and then when you need to resolve stuff, you go to that couch, you sit on that couch. So it is the safe space to talk
Mhm.
about things.
To save space and the energy is good in that area. So you don't bring
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yeah.
many good books out there and good teachers and videos on that. I'm not here to be an expert in relationship. I'm here to bring to the table that people make it work. And I
Mm-hmm.
really believe it starts with ourselves. Like you work on yourself. You don't need to be perfect, but you work on yourself and it helps a couple, on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
That's my
Yeah,
strong belief
absolutely.
after two
Mm-hmm.
relationships. 30 years, 27, 30 years of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
fabulous. Awesome. Um, we have two more questions. Um, what advice would you give to couples about maintaining individuality while growing together?
I think all that we talked about. Mm-hmm.
Just advice now, like, I don't know,
I think
one
it's
or two things that comes up.
authenticity, I think is creating awareness of issues. I think holding space for each other and don't give up so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Always remember, like, why did I choose him? Or why did I choose her?
That's a good one. Yeah.
What made me fall in love with this person? And go back to that feeling, and work things out. Life happens, we grow, we age, life changes. The world goes through challenges, we go through challenges, but if you're willing to fight together and at the same time to rest together, I think it's worth it.
I think it
We
is.
we had we had one very important rule between us, is that no matter how difficult, always resort to the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So that if you don't come from truth, small things start building up.
Mm-hmm.
And then a little lie becomes a bigger lie, and that is probably the biggest destroyer of relationships. It's if you can't maintain yourself honest with yourself and honest with the person next to you, that cannot develop. That's our take on it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say this is a great one. I appreciate you saying this because the work, I believe, Anna, you were talking about earlier being authentic,
Mm-hmm.
self-authentic, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
talked about that too. So if you can be authentic as a human being and spiritual being, the more you evolve in your spirituality, you have to become authentic anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the more you're authentic with yourself, the more you can be authentic with your partner.
Yeah.
And if you're authentic with yourself, you cannot lie to yourself. You can, but the more authentic you become, the more truthful you are.
Mm-hmm.
And when both of them can do that, yes,
Mm-hmm.
now I can see that it creates magic.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's easy. It's not
Mm-hmm.
easy to be authentic all the time and to push the ego and you don't want to look bad. And it's hard to say this. Like you said, some of the topics are sensitive or, you know, but truth is
Mm-hmm.
it's a value. It's a
Yeah.
value. And it's a value that is very, very important. And I'm the first one who have not been truthful all the time. And I can
Mm-hmm.
say that. And I learned from it. right? So, but today I live my life as much as possible to that place of authenticity with myself and with others.
Yeah,
Not
no,
saying
that's
it's perfect all the time, but this is what I choose, right? And it's a choice. Would you say it's a choice? It's a choice, right?
mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
make the choice to become, I think every one of us, we're not always authentic in our life, but we choose to be authentic and we choose to be truthful and we choose
Yeah.
to live by that value. What are the other values that you have that you believe like makes your connection so I don't know, the word is, I wanted to say amazing, but I was searching for something else.
Uh-huh. The volume.
What are your values?
I think courage is one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
I
good.
think, what is one for you?
Truth was the first one. Courage is definitely a huge, huge one because it takes courage to face the problems. It takes courage to um, day after day,
Mm-hmm.
struggle through life and deal with the issues we all have at some point in
Mm-hmm.
time. And I'd say between courage and truth, you can cover most of it, but I'd say patience as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
A huge level of patience and understanding of the person next to you and how they see things.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it has to be both ways. They have to see you as well, see your failures and see your moments of, of victory and
mhm,
understand that you are just a person and life is just an experience. And we're all here to learn. If we're eager and to remain on the learning process, that's one of the things in martial arts I learned that I really enjoyed. Is usually we say there is a W for win, an L for loss, and I see it as a W for win and a L for learn instead of
mhm,
a loss because
Yeah.
every time you take a stumble, if you fall, you get up and you learn
mhm.
on how to proceed. So I think that's it.
Mm-hmm. Willingness is a good
Nice.
one too. Like we need to be willing to do the work, right?
The commitment and the respect are part of it too, based on
Mm-hmm.
this conversation today.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a beautiful list of value. I I think you are a great example for people out there, anyone that I don't know how many are going to see this and at the end of the day, the people are drawn to it because I'm
Mm-hmm.
not doing huge marketing, but I really believe that the people will meant to see it will see it. That's
Yeah.
how I see life.
Mm-hmm.
And but you are a very inspiring couple and the values that you have as a couple. Because if I ask you, give me your list, you cannot just give it like that, fast, fast,
Yeah.
fast. You need to think through it because you're living it. It's not
Yeah.
like you made the list and going to follow that list. No, no, you're
Mm-hmm.
living it every
Mm-hmm.
day. And that's a good testimony of the success of your relationship. And I met you in 2004, like 20 years ago. And, like
I
I
think we
was
saw each other
thinking,
after that because we left Peaks in 2008.
mhm,
And we had
yeah.
a party when we left Peaks. So I think we saw each other maybe in 2009, 10, something like that.
Yeah, I visited you. I don't remember if it was before Mexico or when I came back from Mexico. Before Mexico.
It's before. Yeah.
Before. Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
then I came back and now we reconnected again. I believe when you have friends, there's time doesn't have
Absolutely.
any issue. So real friends we connect anytime and
Yeah.
I value you both. But
Yeah.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for being
Yeah.
here today. Let me just before I close, because I have a closing thoughts, like it's kind of a quote. Before we close, if our listeners wants to find out about you, the website is annalioid.com. So Lioi. So Anna, ANALIOI.com.
That's
so
right.
they can work with the badass coach and fearless coach and face their fears and have
Yes.
breakthroughs. And I want to thank you again. And I'm going to finish this meeting today with a closing thought. True healing begins when we learn to hold space for ourselves and extend that gentle understanding to those we love, creating a sanctuary where growth and connection flourish. And I really believe that's what you did together. And you keep going because you're still young. So you have another like 40, 50 years in front of you.
Oh, I hope so.
I'll be going for a record.
I've seen other people having that. So thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you found the conversation as inspiring as I did. If you enjoyed the episode, please consider leaving a review and subscribing so you never miss an update. And don't forget to check out our community. I have a community. It's YCY. So You Conscious You community.com. So I'm starting to build it because I want to create a lot of interaction between people there and inspire
Great.
people. And the next episode, we will explore journey to self-exploring growth and awareness. And until then, remember to be kind to yourself and keep stepping boldly into your future self. So
Oh,
take
thank you,
care
Lucy.
and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.